Hello, good morning, and welcome to IUP's First Takes. I'm your host, Stanley Rogers, along with our three analysts, Lloyd Boyce, Donovan Carrington, and James Geddes. Today is March 9th, and we have a lot to unpack from this weekend's sporting events. The 2021 NBA All-Star Weekend went on in Atlanta, Georgia, and according to aggravated fans, this All-Star Weekend was one of the worst. So, you guys, is this one of the worst All-Star weekends? Lloyd, I'll start with you.
Thanks, Stanley. Good morning to everyone out there watching IUP Sports Takes. Nothing this year has been quite normal to me, especially in our world of sports. Every single year, the NBA All-Star Weekend is one of the most anticipated weekends in all of sports. You have some of the best athletes on the planet on the court all at the same time, whether it's players throwing down windmills, hitting 15 three-pointers in a minute, or someone making an insane pass. Everyone loves All-Star Weekend. Without seeing the crowd going crazy after someone scoring a 50 on a dunk in the dunk contest, it's just not the same. We had several people drop out. Some players didn't want anything to do with the weekend at all. It was just all over the place. The NBA could have done a lot better of a job in planning this weekend. It's one of the biggest weekends in their association. You'd think they'd put a lot of more effort into it, but hey, I guess not.
Yeah, and if this All-Star weekend wasn't a disaster already, the at-home TV viewership and ratings were the lowest ever, which is pretty crazy because no one could really be there in person. So wouldn't you think that the ratings would be higher since everyone is home watching the game? That's wrong. The NBA All-Star game, which also had the skills competition in the pregame and the dunk contest at halftime, only had 5.94 million viewers, which is down 18% from last year's game. So at some point, you got to think that the NBA is doing something wrong.
Yes, and as we saw before, the All-Star game, NBA stars were expressing their views and concerning with the game. The biggest concern is that both All-Stars, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, will not be participating this year. The reason being that two of their teammates were positive of COVID while at a barbershop. Naturally, due to the seriousness that we have towards the virus, we have towards this virus that are supposed to be quarantined. Since the discovery of this, we saw that stars like Paul George, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the King himself, LeBron James, are saying that this All-Star game should not be happening. You can't really blame them due to the state and condition we live in with the coronavirus. Even before the discovery, they were hesitant to the idea of an All-Star game because of COVID. Overall, this year has not done any favors for sports. And like I said before, you cannot blame them for the hesitation. You have to consider the consequences of their actions.
Okay, guys. Well, we got to move on. So we still have a lot to cover. It's a packed show today. So next question is LaMelo Ball LaMelo Ball the best Rookie of the Year candidate? We will discuss this after the break.
Kobe taught us to be better.
Don't cheat me.
Push it.
Wake up every single day to get better today than you were yesterday.
Whatever it takes.
Better dreamer. Better waker. Better stretcher. Better walker. Better talker. Better walking the walk and talking the talk. Better blocker. Better sprinter. Better loser. Better winner. Just be better.
Do the simple stuff right.
Better form. Focus. Better friend. Better fighter. Better rider. Better eater. Better leader. Better generation. Better nation. Just be better. Can you do that?
Let's go. Back at it.
Better player. Better shooter, better scorer, better GOAT, yep, better GOAT, better mentor, better minor, major, mover, shaker, better skater, better artist, yeah, better teacher, better preacher, better believer, better first, better future, better hero, again, better hero, better mother, yeah, better father, better father, better father, better father, better father, better me, better you, better us.
Mamba out.
Better. Forever.
Welcome back. For those of you who are just joining us, we are discussing if LaMelo Ball deserves the Rookie of the Year award. In current voting, LaMelo Ball is the top candidate. So, Lloyd, does LaMelo Ball deserve the Rookie of the Year?
Stanley, LaMelo Ball is absolutely the rookie of the year. I mean, come on. This kid has come into the league, and without even playing time in the beginning of the year, he proved that he could hoop. No one expected him to come into the league and dominate like he has been. I mean, he's 19 years old and still putting up numbers like this. The Hornets are not a very good team whatsoever. He doesn't have many players surrounded by him, but they're sitting in the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, which is not bad at all for that roster. He's been averaging 16 points along with 6 rebounds and 6 assists per contest as well. He leads all rookies in scoring by a whole point, and you wouldn't expect it from a point guard, but he leads all of them in rebounding as well, and assists. To me, LaMelo is the sole reason why the Hornets are even somewhat good this year. Gordon Hayward isn't having too bad of a year, but without LaMelo Ball's all-around game, he really completes that team. I do not think they're a good seed at all in the East without him. I know there are some other great rookies such as Emmanuel Quickley, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Patrick Williams, and many others, but none of those kids are in the same league as LaMelo, in my opinion. I know he was the first overall pick in the draft, and he was expected to live up to these expectations, but the numbers he is putting up are absolutely insane. I don't think people expected Zion, Andrew Wiggins, or anyone that was a projected top pick to put up these numbers in the first year in the league. LaMelo Ball is my rookie of the year without a doubt.
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you there, Lloyd. Granted, LaMelo is exceeding expectations across the league, but we would be wrong to count out other star rookies who are making, in my opinion, a bigger impact for their team than Ball is. My pick for rookie of the year is Emmanuel Quickley from the New York Knicks. Nobody thought that the Knicks would be a sliver of decent this year, and on top of that, nobody thought that the 25th pick in the draft would be competing this well. Quickley has not started a single game this season so far and is playing 11 minutes less per game than Ball. Even though he's not played as much, his stats are close to beating Ball in every department except for rebounding. Quickley, in just 19 minutes per game, is contributing 12 points and 3 assists. We've seen the Knicks team that whenever Quickley plays more minutes, this kid goes off. For example, on March 2nd against the Spurs, Quickley played 29 minutes and went off for 26 points and 4 assists. To state it simply, when Quickley plays more, he performs better than Ball.
Well, I'm going to have to throw an even bigger curveball in because I believe that the rookie of the NBA rookie of the year should be Tyrese Halliburton for the Sacramento Kings. Looking at his stats, most people would think that he wouldn't be a real contender for the rookie of the year, but I think his stats are pretty good. He averages around 13.2 points, 5.4 rebounds. Assists, 8.6 rebounds a game. So he is a reliable player. In addition, you cannot go without talking about his clutch threes. He's been hitting recently for the game winners against the Knicks, and he's been just a great overall player. One thing you can't take away from him is that he's being a big sleeper pick in terms of the NBA. So to wrap up my thought here, that he's not scoring nor playing as much as the other two rookies, but Tyrese Halliburton is a tough, clutch, and underrated player that everyone underestimates. But he is here to prove everyone wrong. Yeah, I think Tyrese Halliburton should be the rookie of the year. With that discussion out of the way, we will be going to commercial, and then afterwards, we will be looking at MLB and some of our favorite moments from this year's NFL season. So stay tuned for that.
We're never alone. And that is our strength. Because when we're doubted, we'll play as one. When we're held back, we'll go farther and harder. If we're not taken seriously, we'll prove that wrong. And if we don't fit the sport, we'll change the sport. We know things won't always go our way.
And the world's sporting events are postponed or cancelled.
But whatever it is, we'll find a way. And when things aren't fair, we'll come together for change.
We have a responsibility
to make this world a better place.
And no matter how bad it gets, we will always come back stronger. Because nothing can stop what we can do together.
back to IUP's first take. We last talked about NBA Rookie of the Year race before the break, and now we are going to move to a preview of the MLB season, which is starting very, very soon. This year, the MLB is looking to be a crazy year with fans returning to the stadium and teams returning to play a full 162 game schedule. This is shaping up to be quite the season. Lloyd, who is your early pick to win it all?
Thanks, Stanley. Yeah, there were a ton of moves this offseason, and teams did get a lot better. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers still have the edge by a decent margin, in my opinion. Their lineup and their pitching rotation are simply unmatched, especially with the addition of Trevor Bauer. Now, with that being said, there is a division in the National League that could also make some noise come October. That's the NL East, and there are already two solidified studs in the Braves and the Mets in this division. But on the other, Phillies and the Nationals can make some noise. They both got a lot better. This offseason, the Mets alone added Francisco Lindor and Carrasco, which is huge for them. The Braves added Dallas Keuchel and Marcell Ozuna. The Nationals acquired a slugging first baseman in Josh Bell, and the Phillies kept Real Muto and signed Chase Anderson and Archie Bradley into their rotation, which they needed a lot of help in. Even the Marlins got better this offseason. This division is going to be so much fun this year because I would say at least 3 out of these 4 teams can make the playoffs. It's crazy to think that one of these teams is going to miss the playoffs. My team to come out of this division is the Braves. They can hit 1 through 8 against left or right-handed pitching. They improved their rotation by adding Keuchel this offseason, and they have a solid bullpen. Their lineup can hit pitchers out of most of the problems on most occasions, and they could make a lot of noise this year, especially come October in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there this season about the Dodgers. They have been really stacked this year with their lineup. And they also were the champions of last year, so I feel like they're going to have that same mentality coming into this year. And like you said before, they have a really solid pitching rotation since the addition of Trevor Bauer. In addition, they have some very skillful players, so I think they're going to be a really hard team to beat and have an extremely high chance of keeping that World Series trophy for another year.
Yeah, this season's going to be a rough one for me, guys, because I'm a Pirates fan, unfortunately. The Pirates aren't looking like they will be able to make a run at all, which means I'm going to have to bandwagon on someone else this year. The Dodgers are easily the favorite to win it all, but I would not overlook the Yankees or the Padres. The Yankees have star players like Garrett Cole, Corey Kluber, Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu, and a supporting cast of some better-than-average players. The Padres, on the other hand, have breakout star Fernando Tatis Jr., stud pitchers Yu Darvish and Blake Snell, and Manny Machado as well. I would not doubt any of these two teams to go far, and I would not count them out of the World Series picture. I'm also interested to see who the breakout stars of the MLB season will be this year, and I'm sure that we won't just be disappointed.
Thanks, guys. The ton has been packed in with the MLB in the past few weeks, but switching gears, the NFL has also had some big changes. What has been the biggest shock for you guys in the NFL this last season?
Yeah, this NFL season was a roller coaster ride as expected. It always is. So many crazy things happened this year, led by Tom Brady leading the Young Bucks to their Super Bowl title. What truly caught me off guard was how incredible this past year's rookie class was. Starting off with Justin Herbert, he didn't lead the Chargers to a promising record, but he showed so much promise behind an average offensive line while having to deal with injuries from Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler around him all year long. Once the Chargers get weapons around him, he's going to be an absolute stud. The next rookie I want to mention is Justin Jefferson. This came into the league and had more receiving yards than some big names like Julio Jones. Absolutely no one saw that coming. He single-handedly would keep the Vikings in some games on offense because he is that talented. Another rookie that also exceeded expectations by far is James Robinson. He wasn't even expected to make the team. He came out this year and absolutely dominated. He was a dual threat, being able to receive and run both at an elite level. If the Jags were playing in any close games this year, he was most likely the reason. There are so many other guys I could talk about, like Chase Young, Antonio Gibson, Jonathan Taylor, and many more, but the impact that these guys made on their teams was unmatched.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Lloyd, that it was wild to see all the rookies emerge as star players this season. But what shocked me more was the Cinderella story of the Buffalo Bills. The Bills went 15-4 this year, and star quarterback Josh Allen rose to the top QB this year, in my opinion. Allen, who's only 24 years of age, threw for over 4,000 passing yards with 37 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions. I do not think anyone saw this type of performance coming out of Allen this season. Star wide receiver Stephon Diggs also had an insane year for the Bills alongside Allen. Diggs had over 1,500 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns for the Bills. This team was absolutely awesome, and I cannot wait to see how the Bills Mafia performs in this upcoming season.
For me, I would have to say that one of my shocking moments wasn't actually like play like a freshman doing extremely well, or maybe a team doing extremely well. But it was one game that really stuck out to me that was shocking. It was the Buffaloes against the Arizona, with the Buffaloes winning 30. Not winning. I mean, with the Buffaloes up 30-26 in the fourth quarter with 30 seconds left. So you would think that this would be a Buffaloes win, but no. In the final 10 seconds of the game, Murray got the ball and threw it down the field. And with 6 seconds left, DeAndre Hopkins caught it over 3 people. And for the winning touchdown, it was an incredible interception. It was an incredible catch, and I honestly thought that the Buffaloes intercepted it, but I was proven wrong, and the Cardinals, with an extremely inhuman catch, walked off with the victory, and that's what I thought was a very shocking moment of this year's NFL.
Well, there you have it. The NFL is overflowing with heat right now. Speaking of shocking, Antonio Brown has not yet signed with the Buccaneers. Do you guys think he should sign with the Bucs again, or should he move on?
Yeah, this is a tough one, Stanley. Antonio Brown, in his prime, one of the best receivers of our generation. He's nowhere near that anymore, but AB could be a great addition for a couple of squads around the league. Teams like the Ravens or Eagles could really use a player like him. With that being said, I think it's best for Antonio to stay with the Bucs. It took a chance on him, and it truly did pay off. Plus, I don't know if anyone else is really going to offer him that much. He even scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Him and Tom Brady clearly have some sort of connection going on, and it works to great measures. And I think it would be silly for him not to stay in Tampa and try to get a couple more rings with Tom Brady.
Yeah, Antonio Brown is one of the only players from the Super Bowl team to not return to the Bucs for the upcoming season. Brown could easily get a good contract from the Bucs, but I believe that he thinks he could get a better contract somewhere else. Personally, I think that he should stay with the Buccaneers and take the contract that they offer him. Brown has had a ton of controversy in the NFL, and I'm not sure that teams would be willing to take that risk. The Buccaneers were able to keep Brown in control, and he had a pretty successful season with them. I would not turn my back on the Bucs since they were the ones to welcome him back whenever he could have been banished from the league. I don't think Brown can find a better team or a better contract anywhere else. So hopefully Brown makes a smart move and stays with the Bucs.
Yeah, I would have to agree on you that I don't think there's any other team that would really want to take him right now because of all the controversy. But my mindset is why wouldn't he want to really sign back? He literally just won a Super Bowl with them, so why not re-sign with everybody and get another win?
Yeah, hopefully he can make the best decision for himself. On another note, the March Madness tournament is over, and boy, what a ride! What did you guys take away from the tournament?
Well, guys, the tournament this year was absolutely insane, as always. I didn't see half of those upsets coming, and quite frankly, neither did anyone else, I don't think. From the beginning, I really thought that Baylor was going to win it all. The determination and discipline that all their players showed throughout the season in dealing with COVID and other injuries was just incredible. People were saying they could have gone undefeated if it wasn't for the COVID situation they hit. In the end, I was happy to see them win. I was more than shocked to see teams like Ohio State and Texas get upset in those early rounds. There were a handful of double-digit seeds that somehow made it out of the first round. Also, UCLA almost did the impossible and made it to the national championship as an 11 seed. That would have been nuts. I was truly shocked to see Gonzaga get blown out like that, though. I expected that game to be a dogfight, and it simply was never even close, not even after the second minute.
Yeah, this year's March Madness tournament was awesome, to say the least. I personally had Gonzaga going to the championship versus Baylor and winning, and unfortunately, Baylor blew them out in the end. We saw huge upsets, like 15 seed Oral Roberts make it to the Sweet 16, 11 seed UCLA make it to the Final Four. Just insane. My favorite game by far in the tournament was the Final Four matchup between Gonzaga and UCLA. That game went to overtime and was won by an insane game-winning shot by Gonzaga's Jalen Suggs. I wish the championship game would have been a little bit more competitive, but overall, I had a great time watching the tournament as well as filling out brackets and seeing how my picks turned out.
Yeah, I thought March Madness was pretty awesome this year, despite the fact that my team Kentucky didn't make it in this year because we suck. But since they didn't make it in, I was always waiting for like the next upset to happen afterwards because we had a lot of those, like you said before, like with Ohio State and Texas being blown out, getting taken out by like double digits teams pretty early on, and Oral Roberts making it to the Sweet 16, and even UCLA making it all the way up to the Final Four. But unfortunately, winning over teams like Michigan and Alabama to get to that fourth seed, with unfortunately UCLA losing to Gonzaga from a half-court three in overtime. It would have been nice to see UCLA in the finals, but in the end of the day, they probably would have gotten blown out by Baylor even more than Gonzaga did. But it was nice to see them in the Final Four.
Okay. Well, good stuff. So moving on, guys, with the NBA coming to a hot end and us passing the trade deadline, what are your predictions for the end of the NBA season?
Yeah, this year is going to be a ton of fun. No one knows who's going to win it all, as it's wide open as it has been in a while, in my opinion. From the East, you got teams like the Sixers, the Nets, the Bucks, and the Heat that could all make serious noise in the postseason. On the West side, you have the Clippers, Lakers, Suns, Jazz, and the Nuggets. The West I would say, is much better than the East this year, but teams from either conference could make a lot of noise. My finals prediction would be the Lakers versus the Sixers. I believe the Lakers are going to make it back to the finals simply because of LeBron James. That's simply what he does. He wins and makes it to the finals. He does it almost every single year. Also, having his sidekick back and healthy and Anthony Davis, that'll help a ton. Their roster will get completely healthy by the time postseason comes, and LeBron will be in prime form as normal. In the East, I do think the Sixers are the clear-cut team. They match up perfectly with anyone. If they have to face Brooklyn in the East Finals, I think they match up pretty well. If you have Simmons on Durant, Tobias Harris on James Harden, and Matisse Thybulle on Kyrie, I believe that gives the Nets a lot of trouble. Oh, yeah, and the Sixers also have a guy named Joel Embiid who has easily been the best center in the league this year. They could truly be a matchup nightmare for teams in the playoffs if they're rested and completely healthy, and they're definitely my pick this year to win.
Yeah, I think right now there's not a clear-cut favorite for who will win the NBA Finals. The Lakers were early on the favorites easily, but injuries have hurt their playoff hopes for sure right now. Honestly, I could see the Brooklyn Nets or the Los Angeles Clippers playing in the finals, but I really don't know who I would take to win it all. There are also teams like the Jazz, Nuggets, and 76ers who could cause trouble and maybe upset the big dogs in the playoffs. So I don't really want to count them out as well. One team that's been fighting hard is the New York Knicks, which I may have some bias there since I'm a huge fan. But if we're being honest, though, I feel like they're the kind of team that can make the playoffs and give any team a tough time for sure. Look at the other night how the Knicks played against the Nets. They were out there and forgot about big names and records and just played hard basketball. It's teams like that who can make noise in the playoffs and have a huge potential to knock off some good teams. As far as MVP goes this season, I think the best player this year so far has been Jokic. He's been a beast on the offensive end of the floor, and there's no doubt that he's the reason behind the Nuggets' success this season.
I would have to agree with you with Brooklyn Nets making it to the NBA Finals or winning it all, in my opinion. Even with the recent injury of James Harden in the Knicks game, they've been doing extremely well in our prime contender because they're just very stacked with all their all-stars right now. But there's other big teams that I think could like have a really good shot of winning the whole thing, like the Lakers, the Jazz, the Knicks, the Nuggets, the 76ers, Los Angeles. And on the other side, I think the Bucks have a really good chance. As for the MVP has some really good contenders like the king himself, LeBron James, who's always been a really solid pick, has always been a really good player for the Los Angeles Lakers. Jokic, who's been a real anchor for the Nuggets this year, and like you said before, are the main reason why the Nuggets had a very successful season this year. And also Embiid, who's always been a very solid player, who's always been doing what he can to get the team that victory and has been improving and getting better every single game. And it's been a big asset for the 76ers. But out of all of them, if I had to choose one of them, I would have to choose Jokic.
Okay, well, that was great. Great stuff today, guys. We had so much to cover, and it doesn't feel like enough time. If you like what you see, you can watch us every morning on IUP's first IUP Sports Center Network. I'm your host, Stanley Rogers, and we'll see you tomorrow.